All right, we're back with another video. So this is going to be uh, mainly just journaling my trade today. I'll explain what price. No, I'll explain what I did first, and then I'll explain what price did second. So first and foremost, just want to let you guys know that these little gray lines right there, they are to help me pretty much divide and conquer what price is doing in each little section. So I start looking at trades at 7 a.m. So I'd mark up that horizon line right there. So 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30, 10, and so on and so forth. So I ended up pretty much by the rule ICT is telling us, the students, that the first 30 minutes we're not trading, we're just letting price give us data, meaning like we're letting price move on its own to let us know what's happening, or like whatever. Far as waiting for more data, let me grab this. Far as data, I wanted to see where price is going today. So if I could figure out where price is going today, it would be, I guess I could use this. It would be like, I could go here, make this line thicker. Cool. All right. So from here, we waited, and from 7:30, we got our official primary buy side liquidity. And from way down here, even though it's not in the 7 o'clock range, it still counts. Our teacher or our mentor declares it so that this area is still relevant because it made this whole swing. So primary sell side liquidity is right here, resting, and we have our primary buy side liquidity right there. So waiting for price to take this out and give us the next clue. So when it does, it created primary buy side liquidity there. So seeing all this buy momentum made me think, like, if price is going to keep going up, where is it most likely to go? If it's going to keep going up, it's going to come up here to the next magnet, which is the new day opening gap high and low from this Monday, which is February 24th. And if it wants to go up there, it has to keep sweeping out sell side liquidity to boom up there, like really explode up there. That's how it works. So I wanted to see some type of rejection. And, well, first and foremost, around 7 o'clock, there will be your first available first value gap, which acts as an order block. An order block is basically an area of where price can either break through or it can't break through. Basically, let's put it like that, like a wall. Like you can break through it if you have like maybe a construction truck or something like that, or if you ram your car through it, or if it's just you're not breaking through that brick wall with your bare hands. So think of it like that. So it has to come back and keep trying to hit this wall. So when price around 7:42 to 8 o'clock came down to the wall, which is the order block, I ended up believing that, hey, if it's not going to take out this order block, it's going to go higher and take out buy side liquidity and possibly go up. So I took the trade very early, and not early, but I took the trade seeing that piece of information. And I'm going to draw this real quick for us. Here's the buy side fair value gap. Here's the fair value gap. When I seen this and it started rejecting, I immediately was like, okay, I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna put my stop loss below, and I'm gonna target primary buy side liquidity. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't work out as smoothly this time. It ended up coming down to stopping me out my first trade. So I got stopped out. So I locked my account, one trade a day, and it did go back up, but it didn't go all the way back up like how I would think, because I'm really here to just sit here and watch and see if price is going to go up to the next magnet, or is it going to go back to another magnet. So thinking it like, if you have, I'll say, a piece of metal and two magnets, and if they're both equally set apart from the piece of metal, then they're both, it's the pull, the gravitational pull, or I should say the magnetic pull, um will basically, I don't know how to really say it, but it's gonna make both magnets get closer and closer, which eventually just, that huge slap when they get together. But if you put one magnet farther than the other magnet, most likely that piece of metal is going to go to whoever is the closest. So even though it was kind of close here, but we never did sweep out primary sell side liquidity here. And once we did not do that, that's when price started making higher highs and then higher lows and then higher lows. And we see here, made this one from earlier previous trade around 820, made our first official higher low, came back down, broke through the order block, broke through that, and it came very close to primary sell side liquidity. So from failed attempt 1, failed attempt 2, failed attempt 3, saying that we're not going higher, that should have been an indication for me to say like, all right, cool, I should be looking for sells. So when it came back down here and built back up, I should be targeting primary buy side liquidity and waiting for a sweep or some type of rejection. And two types of rejections that really are kind of like bread and butter is a fair value gap or an inverse one, or if price ends up making a significantly large wick. And this one right here, I'll just zoom in on it. So this guy right here was the significantly large wick here, where price looked like it was going all the way up, but it actually went lower instead. So I would just measure it up here and expect, if price do come up, I have a plan. Like, we have a procedure for this. We're going to go ahead and see what area price is most likely to reject. So with each section in a fair value gap and in a, I want to say just fib here when we're measuring it out, we're looking for the consequent encroachment to either be touched, rejected, or we're looking for the lower quadrant of the consequent encroachment, or lower part of the fair value gap getting rejected. So I'm going to draw it out. The lower part is this area right here. Consequent encroachment is the red dotted line, basically the middle of the measurement, or even the fair value gap, or even the gaps to themselves. If you just take the measurements and just find the middle of it, there's your consequent encroachment there. And then the gray lines basically identify as like what section you're in, top or lower. So that's that. So if we see price is failing 1, 2, 3 times, and then it actually sweeps out, so like sell side, primary sell side liquidity, I would want it to come back up and try to touch this area one more time before it takes off. Now, with this being said, we wouldn't have known that price is going to do all this consolidating, building liquidity, but this right here would have been your ideal entry. But you would have to really just trust the process or just take partials, because coming from here all the way down to like an appropriate level, I would never leverage that much. Like a 10 to 15. But in this case, say like we're just targeting our stop losses at the consequent encroachment, most likely we would have got stopped out from this. But I always go for 10 or 15 right on the dot. So that would have been really pushing it. But the idea of entries is to get as safe as possible by getting the most highest price if we're selling and the most lowest price when we're trying to buy. So there was an entry here, we could have took partials. There was an entry here, we could have took partials. And there was an entry, well, target and then partials, but could have took this one here, take partials. And lastly, this guy right here. If we knew from failed attempt 3 that price is not going any higher than that, not even the primary buy side liquidity, we should be looking at the next magnet that it's close by, in which was Wednesday, February 26th, the new day opening gap high, low, and then we got 25th, Tuesday, and whoever else is down here, and other targets too that it could potentially hit. So there was definitely 1, 2, 3, 4 opportunities today for selling because price did not feel like it needed to go up or get caught in the magnet of getting pulled for the new day opening gap. But for sure, this is a pretty solid trade. Once I got stopped out, I realized that where is it? It's very good to annotate when you're trading. So you're like talking yourself through trades and helping yourself. So in the beginning, you're just saying what you see and what you want to do as long as it's in sync with price. So I initially thought, the new week opening gap and the new day opening gap are above. I want to see price attempt to take out the primary sell side liquidity. I didn't get that until 8:46, almost 9 o'clock, when I wrote that in around 7 o'clock really, or 7:30. So after seeing more progress, now I want to see price head towards the black hole mainly. Remember, time and price. Time and price is basically, if we're going to go into a trade and we wanted to hit a target, we literally have to sit there and let price do the work. There's none else to it. Or we're before a trade, we're waiting the whole time until price gives us at least the entry criteria for a confirmation that we should get in. I want to see a touch on the buy side fair value gap before entering. So the buy side fair value gap, it was this guy, which it did, and that's why I took it, and then that triggered that loss. But after that, locked my account. It would have made more sense to trade the failed attempt or the sweep of the primary sell side liquidity, instead of the midpoint. So what I mean by this is, you really want to like position yourself, is what I'm saying. You want to position yourself in the area where price is going to most likely explode to the opposite side of whatever structure. So for example, this right here, when price ended up sweeping out the sell side liquidity, ended up exploding right back up. And when price ended up sweeping out this buy side liquidity and this buy side liquidity and this buy side liquidity. It ended up coming up a little bit and then exploding back down. So literally it's all about just waiting with time that price needs to sweep out liquidity in order to get the gasoline to explode on the other side of where it's gonna go. So my last thought was it felt like I needed to do that when I locked my account, but it was very difficult to press the lockout button. I wanted to keep trading, and I was thinking to, if you want to stop digging yourself a hole, you have to put down the shovel and put the shovel down and go back to the basics. One kick, one goal, one trade. So a little bit of backstory is I learned that it isn't necessary to keep watching so much content and gaining so much information. It's not good for what works. What works, keep that information, don't add more to it. It's almost like a recipe for a cake. You know, you got your flour, sugar, your chocolate, and you got all the brown sugar and everything. Why are you trying to add, I don't know. Why are you trying to add real seasoning salt to it? The stuff you put on your burgers, or why are you trying to add celery to cake? First of all, they don't go together, and two, that's not gonna be like a great tasting cake at all. So I learned that I need to revert back to what was working for me about 4 months ago, because it felt like I felt like I had a cheat code that I shouldn't have had. It felt like I did actually disappear from friends and family to learn this one specific thing and came back, and as a testimony I can say that my results speak louder than me when I was gone, or just basically studying. And it really dawned on me when I just sat down one day and said, I have to go back to basics. I need to do what was working for me and don't change anything, because that was the problem. I kept adding on, kept journaling more and more videos, and it ended up really not turning out for me. So, in these videos are most likely are just going to be my journaling thoughts and just showing my progress. But that's all I really got so far. But you guys, if you like the video, go ahead, like, share, subscribe, because I will be posting a lot more on my channel. But if you ever do want to learn how I trade, just watch the journey, and eventually, you're just gonna pick up how I trade. And one of these videos will be just like a full on journal video of my actual journal. I'm gonna figure out how am I gonna really do that, but mainly all of these videos are just breakdowns of the same thing that I'm gonna be doing over and over and over, just different scenarios, different setups, and everything. But with that being said, that's all I got, and I'll catch you guys next time.